Terrance Howard got a secret, boss. Shh. A 6,000-year-old secret, boss. Let's get it.
To lift the veil on a 6,000-year-old secret, one that mankind has been trying to decipher for thousands of years. What we're about to uncover is not just surprising, it's transformative. So sit tight and let's dive in.
I want you guys to know about a 6,000-year-old secret. 6,000 years, mankind has been trying to decipher this one little thing called the flower of life. Have you guys ever seen this before? Now, you know this is one of the oldest symbols in human history, right? This symbol was found in the Temple of Osiris in Egypt, and it had been molecularly burned into the wall. And it's 6,000 years old. This same symbol has been found in the forbidden temples in China, sitting under the fufu dogs. And the foot on it, the flower of life, saying whoever controlled that flower of life controlled the universe. There were secrets in that flower of life that Da Vinci spent his whole life trying to uncover. There were secrets in that flower of life that Newton spent his whole life in secret trying to uncover. The same secrets that Pythagoras was desperately trying to uncover. But their problem was they kept this in a two-dimensional space. They couldn't get it out of this two-dimensional frame, and as a result, they got stuck in this plane, a flat plane. Now, what Da Vinci and all of them wanted to do, they were trying to find a way to bring this flower to life, because what is inside of it? Well, apparently, there were secrets inside of it. Shapes, they got the Merkaba and all of those other things out of it. But they were misled by something I think called a straight line. You guys believe in straight lines? You believe there's straight lines in the universe? Well, let me hit you with something. All energy in the universe is expressed in what? It's in motion. If something is still, there's no energy. Kinetic, right? All motion is expressed in what? You look at galaxies, are they expressed in straight lines? Expressed in vortices. All vortices are expressed in what? Waves. All waves are curved. Show me a straight line in nature. You show me where the platonic solids come from. Where do they have?
Platonic solids, man. Hey, Templar up. We just talking platonic solids. Yeah, they've hijacked the platonic solids. They've hijacked the wave. Hey, fair use in your caboose, Bone. We're just doing some teaching, some comments, and some criticisms. And we're talking Terrance Howard, and shout out to Oxford Union, because we're going to dig on that. And shout out to Video Advice. We're just talking platonic solids. Now, some of y'all remember we dropped, something recently, man. One of the drops from the IG, I shared it on the YT about Terrance Howard breaking down how the math ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin'. It ain't getting too mathy anymore. Because 1 times 1, how could it equal 1? 1 multiplied, the concept of multiplication is to increase. If you take something and you multiply it by something else, you should get more than just what you started with, right? So the math ain't math, and so the foundation is off. The fundamentals are off. Again, we're just talking platonic solids, man. We're just talking platonic solids. Let's get it.
Have their foundations in our universe? Are there any straight lines? If you look at anything, there are no straight lines. That's been the mistake. We've been looking at these straight lines, this Euclidean way of thinking, and missing the curvature of nature. So here we are, back with the curvature of nature. And you have all these little pieces. Now, this has always been an information system. So compare some of these points. Take a point here and say, well, what's the space in between all of these things? Now, they've said that all the in-between spaces, if this is the Earth and this is the moon right here, all this in-between space is filled with what? A void. There's nothing in the void. Well, I found that there is something in the void. The elementary fundamental particles that they've been searching for at the CERN Collider, the Hadron Collider in CERN, I found that their energy signatures matched perfectly to some of the pieces that I was able to pull out of here.
Terrance Howard's captivating speech.
Hold up. Because we're going to get it right from Terrence Howard. I'm just, getting a piece of this first. He said they act like there's nothing in between, like the vacuum of space, the void. Backing up a little bit to these platonic solids, man. Because drop is popping off. Because Terrence Howard's popping off. And I ain't saying, oh, Terrence knows everything about this, or I know anything about anything, or whatever. We all investigate. I'm surfing away with his investigation into the mathematics. Now, he might still think he's spinning on a ball. He might still think he's on a round ball. He says something later like, the Earth is getting further and further away from the sun, all this stuff. Or, maybe the sun that's in, a circuit around the flat plane, so-called, is spiraling, is itself spiraling further away. It's not like we're moving further away from the sun. Maybe the greater light is coming in. Maybe the firmament is getting lifted and we don't need the sun. Because remember, the sun wasn't created until what? The fourth day or something like that. But let there be light already happened, right? So we already had light before we had the sun and the moon and the luminaries, because we didn't need the sun and the moon when the firmament was still open. We had the greater light. But once HaWah closed off the firmament, we needed an inner luminary to, guide the day and night. You know what I'm saying? Signs, right? So these are signs within the firmament. I believe that's a major puzzle piece Mr. Howard, should investigate. The way he's coming up with calculations, he's going to really pop off once he gets the orientation. But let's just talk about the ether.
Now, this has always been an information system. So compare some of these points. Take a point here and say, well, what's the space in between all of these things? Now, they've said that all the in-between spaces, if this is the Earth and this is the moon right here, all this in-between space is filled with what? A void. There's nothing.
Is it nothing or is it the ether? Remember the Michelson Moreland experiment left to Five Eyes Ma Jigga MHOE Ma? Shout out to MHOE Ma. They're trying to abolish the ether. They're trying to, in order to back up the claim of the vacuum of space, act like the ether don't exist. They don't want the ether walk no more. So they have to abolish the ether to make room for this theory, which ain't no law, of gravity and outer spaceness and this void and this vacuum. But you cannot abolish the ether. The reason why they were trying to abolish the ether is because they're trying to prove the movement of the earth. And they're like, if the earth is going at 67,000 miles per hour, there should be some type of ether wave pattern that the earth is, it's like water. It's like you can't go through water without some type of signature of movement, some type of measurable signature of your movement through the ether, through the space. So they had to make it a void. They had to make it a vacuum, something immeasurable, boss. Because they can't measure the movement of the earth whirling through space at 67,000 miles per hour or spinning at over 1,000 miles per hour, boss. They can't measure that through the ether. They cannot measure any movement going through the ether. So they said, let's just act like the ether don't exist so that we don't have to measure anything going through the water. Let's act like the water don't exist. There's nothing in between these points. Wrong. Everything's in between these points. I mean, we're just talking platonic solids. We're talking other dimensional flow, right? So you can't even mention the name dodecahedron in some countries, man. You can't even say dodecahedron. Yeah, man. He mentioned the Merkaba. He mentioned, the Star of David flow. Yeah, man. I mean, depending on which dimension you're in, a two-dimensional, three-dimensional, a square becomes a cube, right? Now, did Saturn invent the cube for the cube to represent Saturn? Or did Saturn hijack the platonic solid of the cube, which represented Earth? So to hijack the Earth, the hijack had to hijack through the framework of the cube, of the platonic solid of the cube, to hijack this Earth frequency, man. Yeah, man, tetrahedron almost looks like a triangle, boss. Did they hijack the triangle? Or did they invent the triangle? And they're all seeing eye and yada yada. They take the symbolism to hijack into the primordial magic, because their black magic is not of the earth. You don't need a bunch of crystals to pop off your magic. You are the magic. They need all these primordial flows. They need all this natural flow in order for them to kickstart and hijack your magic, hijack the platonic solids that are already natural by law. Like you, this space in between is filled with the ether. Like you said, the Hadron Collider, the CERN flow, these particles, they're looking for God particles. They're talking about that ether, the signature of the ether. Does 1 times 1 equal 1? Does one person times another person equal one person, boss? This is what they're teaching us in math. And this is why they bad. This is why they bad. So let's go.
That's been the mistake. We've been looking at these straight lines, this Euclidean way of thinking, and missing the curvature of nature. So here we are, back with the curvature of nature. And we have all these little pieces. Now, this has always been an information system. So compare some of these points. Take a point here and say, well, what's the space in between all of these things? Now, they've said that all the in-between spaces, if this is the Earth and this is the moon right here, all the in-between space is filled with what? A void. There's nothing in the void. Well, I found that there is something in the void. The elementary fundamental particles that they've been searching for at the CERN collider, the Hadron Collider in CERN, I found that their energy signatures matched perfectly to some of the pieces that I was able to pull out of here.
Terrance Howard's captivating speech on the flower of life not only draws us into a world of ancient mysteries, but also encourages a profound reevaluation of geometric understanding. His assertions, far from mere speculation, find resonance in a tapestry of historical, scientific, and philosophical contexts. As we delve into the 6,000-year-old secret of the flower of life, we uncover a journey that intertwines the quests of great minds like Da Vinci, Newton, and Pythagoras with the modern rethinking of geometry. The flower of life, an intricate symbol composed of multiple evenly spaced, overlapping circles, is more than just a mesmerizing design. It's a portal into the ancient understanding of the universe. Its presence in the Temple of Osiris in Egypt and in hidden temples under the watchful eyes of foo dogs in China signals a universal reverence. This symbol, believed to represent the fundamental forms of space and time, is a visual expression of the connections life weaves through all sentient beings, hinting at the underlying unity of the cosmos. Terrance Howard's admiration for the symbol is not an isolated phenomenon. History tells us of great minds who also pondered over its significance. Leonardo da Vinci, a polymath of the Renaissance era, is known for his extensive studies of the flower of life. Da Vinci's sketches reveal his fascination with its geometric perfection and potential to unlock the secrets of the universe. Similarly, Sir Isaac Newton, in his quest to understand gravitational force and the mechanics of the cosmos, delved into ancient knowledge and symbols, including flower of life. It suggested that Newton's famed discovery of gravity was part of a larger pursuit to decipher the cosmic puzzle embedded in ancient symbols. Pythagoras, the Greek mathematician, also journeyed through these mystical realms, using geometric principles to understand the harmonies of music and the structure of the universe. But what Howard brilliantly highlights is the limitation these great minds faced, their confinement within two-dimensional perspectives. Despite their genius, they grappled with the symbol's profundity, unable to fully transcend its planar representation. This is where Howard's critique of traditional Euclidean geometry opens a new avenue of understanding. Euclidean geometry, the bedrock of much of our mathematical and scientific understanding, focuses on flat, two-dimensional planes. However, the universe, as Howard eloquently points out, isn't confined to flatness. It's a dance of curves, waves, and multi-dimensional forms.
Which brings us back to quantum. Is light a particle or is it a wave? Are you getting hit by the sunlight in straight lines or a wave pattern? Are there any straight lines in nature? And this is what Terrance says, go find me a straight line in nature. Look at your bodies, even your bones, it has some type of curvature. Curvature is what it is, They'll try to draw a straight line and say, see, this is the male and this is the female, the curve. Like, it's all curved. It's all curves. Shout out to Big Mama. It's all curves, man. There's no straight lines. So, we know we've been digging on this. This is ancient knowledge. They call it sacred geometry. Well, what's sacred? The creator is sacred. And who are the people of the creator? You, my Naga. So whatever he's tapping into is what the Naga needs to be on the front lines of. Because it's for you. The Hebrew, the gematria, the code, the coding. My Naga, it's yours. It's your code. Your DNA, right? Your wave. You're surfing a wave.
The flower of life thus becomes a gateway to understanding the curvature of nature.
Bang.
When we look at the spirals of galaxies or the intricate patterns of a nautilus shell, we see not straight lines, but curves. This realization has profound implications. It suggests that the universe operates not just in the realms of the flat and linear, but in dimensions that our ancestors possibly tried to communicate through symbols like the flower of life. Howard's speech resonates with the modern scientific understanding of the universe. The curved space-time continuum, a fundamental concept in Einstein's theory of relativity, echoes this ancient wisdom. The curvature of space and time around massive objects like stars and galaxies isn't just theoretical, it's observable. The warping of light around massive objects, known as gravitational lensing, is a testament to the universe's curved nature. Furthermore, Howard's insights find parallels in the realm of quantum physics. The elusive nature of elementary particles, their existence in probabilities rather than infinite positions, aligns with the idea of a universe beyond straight lines and predictable paths.
Quantum.
This is where Howard's theory about finding something in the void becomes particularly intriguing. The void, often thought of as empty space, could be teeming with these fundamental particles, invisible threads weaving the fabric of the universe.
Ether.
The flower of life, therefore, isn't just an ancient symbol, but a representation of the universe's deepest secret. The 6,000-year-old secret isn't just about a geometric pattern. It's about the very nature of reality itself. It's a symbol that has transcended millennia, bridging the gap between ancient wisdom and modern scientific understanding.
I've spent 45 years searching these things out and trying to figure out what the universe really, how it really worked. And we've come to find that the universe, they are abandoning standard model, the ideas of black holes and dark matter, for an electric model of the universe. There's tons of paperwork of Da Vinci working on the flower of life and trying to unravel it. But every single existence, every single example, you see him making straight lines and trying to make these straight lines bend in, and therefore he was never able to open it up. Because all the universe is curved, all space is curved. And as a result, what I was doing in trying to find these straight lines, I abandoned the idea of the straight line. The shortest distance between 2 points is curved space, because you cannot force your way straight through space. Even electricity, as it moves from a southern plane to a northern plane, it always goes northeast in its direction. And magnetism, as it expands out, it goes southwesterly. And that's the spin. That's how you always know whether it's magnetism or electricity. It's the spin. Is it northeast or is it southwest? But in trying to define the spaces, it allowed me to see that all of these in between, what we have been dealing with is these petals. All of mankind have dealt with these petals, but is these other shapes that we've ignored constantly. Well, those other shapes were the in-between spaces.
That ether. Now look, he said curved space is the shortest distance between 2 points, con. My Naga in the back, con. My Naga in the back of the class, man. He still got his headphones on, but he been popping off consistently, man. Shout out to the con, man. Hey, man. Now we're talking vortexes. Now we're talking wormholes. If you know how to curve space, you can get from point A to point B a lot faster than going in a straight line, my Naga. Do you see clearly? I mean, I don't know nothing from nothing. We just been digging on it. Even when we talk about the as a muzzle equidistant AE flat Earth model projection, yada yada. You know, east and west is just counterclockwise and clockwise. I said in 2016, I know how to time travel, boss. You know, I broke it down. I'm not gonna keep breaking it down because I don't want it to get in the wrong hands. But it has to do with going counterclockwise or clockwise because that's east or west. North and south is the center. Where north is the center, south would be everything outside or away from the center. So south could be, you know, if this was a flat plane, the whole outer rim Antarctica would be south. East or west is how the waters flow. If you know how to navigate how the waters flow, it's going counterclockwise or clockwise. And that's how you catching the currents and the flow and the wave. Now, how do you bend space? Because space is water. I said space is a wata. We're talking wormholes. Godzilla, my name.
They were the things that filled up the vacuum of space. And all these particles that I have, I think, are the full proof of that. And it is also the full proof of the wave particle argument.
Let's
Building
go.
on Terrance
Quantum.
Howard's profound insights about energy and motion, we embark on a journey to unravel the universe's hidden language, a language articulated not in straight lines, but in dynamic patterns and ceaseless movement. This exploration leads us into the realms of modern physics, where the concepts of energy and motion are understood not as linear trajectories, but as complex interplay of forces and fields. In the heart of this exploration lies the fundamental principle that all energy in the universe is in perpetual motion. This motion manifests in vortices, waves, and spirals rather than straight lines. Modern physics, with its study of galaxies and celestial bodies, supports this view. Galaxies do not arrange themselves in straight paths, but in swirling spirals and elliptical orbits, a pattern mimicked in the structure of the DNA helix and the spiraling arms of hurricanes. Howard's perspective resonates deeply with this view, suggesting a universal pattern of motion and energy that is curved and cyclic. The wave-particle duality in quantum mechanics, a concept that posits particles as both discrete entities and probabilistic waves, further illustrates this departure from straight-line thinking. This duality challenges our conventional understanding of motion and trajectory, proposing that at the fundamental level, the universe expresses itself in probabilities and patterns that defy straightforward categorization. Moving from the macrocosmic to the microcosmic, we delve into nature's curves, seeking the essence of the universe. This chapter explores how the natural world embodies the curved, non-linear geometry that Howard emphasizes. From the majestic sweep of rivers to the delicate curl of a fern's frond, nature abounds with curves and spirals. These patterns are not
Hijack said, we got it.
arbitrary, but follow mathematical principles such as fractal geometry and the Fibonacci sequence. Fractal geometry, with its self-repeating patterns, offers a window.
And this is, you know, I'm going to let it load up a little bit. You know, they think you're going to get distracted if they do these little skips and pauses. But I know I got real wave surfers, man, and we been patiently waiting. I mean, music should be a spiral going into your spiral. Your inner ear has what's called a cochlear. which is literally a spiral in your ear. So your vibration, that sound vibration coming from that song, your radio, whatever, TV, that should be coming in a spiral, but they break that up with that 440 hertz. Now you want McDonald's of frequencies. You're not in the Fibonacci. And the Fibonacci got that 9 spiral. That 432, 4 plus 3 plus 2 is 9, but it's not a number 9. It's a spiral. It's a portal. It's a vortex. It's curving space, right? It's letting you tap in beyond the barrier.
Window into the infinite complexity of nature. These fractals are evident in the branching of trees, the structure of snowflakes, and the rugged contours of mountain ranges. The Fibonacci sequence, another mathematical pattern, manifests in the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower, the spirals of a snail's shell, and the proportions of the human body. These patterns reveal a hidden order in nature, an order that transcends the straight lines of Euclidean geometry. Howard's perspective on the absence of straight lines in nature aligns with these observations. By recognizing the curved and recursive patterns that govern the natural world, we gain insight into the essence of the universe. These patterns are not mere coincidences, but are reflective of deeper, universal principles that govern the growth, structure, and movement of everything in the cosmos. As we delve deeper into this exploration, we prepare to encounter a concept that further challenges our conventional understanding of mathematics and its application to the physical world. Terrance Howard, in his insightful speech, fascinating aspect of this hidden order, the concept of mathematical loops. This intriguing idea, exemplified by the looping behavior of the square root of 2, reveals an unexpected and seemingly paradoxical nature of mathematical operations.
But all of these wave conjugations, all of these states of matter, all of these things, it's time for that to be changed now. We have changed all of our buildings to be aerodynamic. Our airplanes are no longer based on a two-dimensional Euclidean way of life. But our math is still based on a two-dimensional way. And I think in order for us to reach the future, we have to examine that. Do you guys know about loops in math? Do you believe in loops? Do you know the square root of 2? Do you think that's a loop? Do you believe that the square root of 2 is the square root of 2? I want y'all to take out your phone for a minute.
Y'all do this. Y'all do
We're
this.
going to do one thing. Put it on the calculator and turn it to the side so you can get all the long numbers out of it. Now I want you to put in 2 and square root it. 2, hit the square root, you'll get 1.4142135623739095 ... right? Now I want you guys to do me a favor, cube it. It'll see right over there, it'll be x to the 3. It'll see 2.828427121746190. Now that makes sense. I want you guys to do me a favor, divide it by 2, get that number, cube it again, divide it by 2, cube it again, and I want you to do that until the end of your lives. And that number will still come up with 2.828427121746190. Any other number that you, above 2, that you put in and you cube and you square, cube and square and divide by 2, by the 6th operation, it has moved into an exponential number that you can't even imagine. Any number below 2 that you do that same operation with, it will go into an exponentially small matter and number. This is what we call a loop. It is illogical, it doesn't make sense, and it does not make math make sense. So these are some things that I'm bringing to the fore and that I would like to question. I would like to audit the math, the world of mathematics, and I would like to audit how we view the platonic solids, because I think the new wave conjugations will tell a better story of how our world works.
Terrance Howard's speech takes an intriguing turn as he delves into the concept of mathematical loops, challenging our conventional understanding of mathematics and its application to the physical world. His example using the square root of 2 not only captivates, but also invites us to reconsider the foundational principles of mathematics that we often take for granted. Howard's call to audit the math is more than a mere suggestion. It's an invitation to embark on a journey of discovery and reevaluation of the very fabric of mathematical understanding. In his example, Howard demonstrates a fascinating loop with the square root of 2. By continuously cubing and dividing the result by 2, we arrive at a constant value, 2.82842712174619. This phenomenon.
Yeah, it's one of those things you got to do for yourself. And just think about, pontificate, light a candle. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it mean, man? Put some 432 hertz flutes, man. Shout out to Coyote Soup, man. And just dig on it, man. How can you take something, divide it in half, and then cube it and come up with the same damn thing over and over and over again? I mean, if you took, the number 9, or, let's say the number 6, and divided it by half, and you get 3, and then you cube it, you get 9. He's just saying anything above 2 is going to exponentially keep increasing, or go lower and lower and lower anything below 2. Somehow, you take the 2, you get the square root, you cube it, you divide it by 2, cube it, you keep coming out with the same loop. So it has, type of deeper quantum type of feel when you start talking loops. But at the same time, it also has like an economic feel. It's going to later talk about the banks and, how the money is flowing. You know what I'm saying? If they're giving you a different value, if they're giving you a value based on these fundamental flaws, then you're not really getting the full value. They're just giving you something based on the flaw. Even let's say you say, I did this with my droplets, man. I said, all right, so you have a dime. You take a dime, you say, I want to multiply a dime times a dime. Now your understanding, you say, oh, that's 10 cents times 10 cents should give me a whole entire dollar. Should give me a whole entire dollar to make me holler. It's a dime. 10 cents multiplied 10 times should give me a dollar. But you put it in the calculator, 10 cents is what, 0.10? You multiply it times each other, and now you got some exponential 0.01 or something like that. It starts going, you know what I mean? There's just all these loops, man, in math, and you should get a dollar, but instead you're getting 0.01 based on this 0.1, being a dime, because a dollar would be 1, right? I mean, my Naga, a dollar make me holler, man. A dollar make me holler. Give me the dollar. Don't give me less than 10 cents after you multiply a dime times a dime. And if 1 times another 1 is only 1, then what happened to the other one? Like, we're losing something. If 1 times 0 multiply gives me nothing, then how can I go from something to nothing? Energy cannot be destroyed. This is what Terrance Howard said. There's fundamental flaws and there's fundamental loops. Now, this sister gonna ask a fundamental question, you know what I'm saying? Terrance Howard was doing the lecture at Oxford, at the Oxford Union. And yeah, I just want to jump into
The new Terran wave conjugations that
this
replace
is belly flop.
this Euclidean way of life and gives us a three-dimensional way of seeing the world. That's what I'm saying.
Let's get it from the
6.25 cents. But 1 times 1 equals 1, you've got loss. When 1 times 1, where is that exemplified in nature or in universal phenomena? Is it? Do you see that?
So then, are you saying that?
Let's back it up.
0, then what happened to the energy of the 1?
All right, here we go.
Thank you so much. I've always been interested in acting, so it's pretty cool to be in the presence of an actor. But my question actually has to do with your numbers theory. So if by your logic you say 1 times 1 equals 2, are you insinuating that 1 times 0 then equals 1?
Equals 1. Well, that's what we were saying with the identity principle, the identity property. It says that 1 times nothing equals nothing. Something, so now you have the laws of physics have to now adjust because something just disappeared. Conservation of energy, energy can't be created or destroyed. So if 1 times 0 equals 0, then what happened to the energy of the 1? Isn't that the same problem that Stephen Hawking were talking about with the event horizon and the information going in and still being present? That conflict that was started? Well, that's because of the math. The principles in the math are not founded on truth. It's not founded on substance. The identity principle, anything times 0 is 0, and anything times 1 is 1. Where is that number? Where is that exemplified in nature or in universal phenomena? Is it? Do you see that?
So then, are you saying that 1 times 5 would be 6?
Yes. Well, what does it say in the associative and commutative thing?
So you're
if A and B
proposing-
are positive integers, it says if A and B are positive integers, A is to be added to itself as many times as is indicated by units in B.
So you're not proposing an audit, you're proposing like a
Well, I'm not the first one
reconstruction
to
of
say
the way
need
we
to do
understand
this.
math.
You know what's interesting? In 1856, a man from Liverpool named Richard Dover Statter challenged the Dewey Decimal System and said that it was wrong and created an entirely new system to show how it can be brought into correction. So I'm not the first person to state this. It's a number of people did it, but look up Richard Dover Statter. Try and find him. You won't find him because he's been erased from history almost. But what is the thing called, honey?
It's called the decimal something.
Dewey Decimal System as a whole. The Dewey Decimal System as a whole. And you will see that we are headed to, the Titanic is headed to an iceberg over there with our numbers. If we don't make a change soon, we're going to crash as a species because our math needs to work in order for our science and our future to develop.
Wow. So the math ain't mathing. And what's the implications of this? You know what I'm saying? How does it affect your monies? The banks are able to give you something based on a fictional idea, you know, in terms of interest and yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? You give us this, we'll give you that. Everything is based on, you know what I'm saying, this thread of an illusion, but who benefits off of this shit, man? Who benefits off of teaching you something in 2-dimensional space only? You know, who benefits off you not being able to open the flower to proceed past the barrier, the boundaries, right? So don't rush into a conclusion. We're not rushing into a conclusion, but it is an investigation, and these are damn good questions to ask and to even propose to your children to break them early out that cycle. You know, I let my daughter and my sons were watching this. At the end, they said, "Man, I could never look at the timetables the same." And I was like, you know, if you're taking a test, you know, you're doing your thing, you know what they want you to, you know which answer they want you to give. And that's what you got to have these conversations with your children. You got to allow them to be bilingual. They have to speak hijack. If they're taking a science class or whatever about the Earth's rotation, then here's the answers they want, you know, but be bilingual at least, trilingual, like speak different languages. Here's the truth language. You're not spinning on a damn ball, man. And we all got a piece. No one got it all. You know what I'm saying? But If the math ain't mathin', man, then the whole fundamentals, the whole foundation deserves a Dragonfly perspective. And I appreciate Terrance Howard for offering a Dragonfly perspective, you know what I'm saying? So that on this scale, you know, digging on the flower of life, digging on platonic solids, quantum waves, particles, you know, the mathematics, the universal language, you know what I'm saying? As the son of a math teacher, man, you know, my dad taught high school math. I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, anyone willing to, you know, dig on these fundamentals, you know, with a completely fresh perspective. Because that's all science is supposed to be: investigation, investigation, investigation. And once they get into a rut and their water ain't moving no more, then it becomes stale water. And now you trapped in two-dimensional space, man.
Sorry, one last question. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead. Go.
Do you think it's our do you think that the reason that we have like economic crises, for example, is because we are not understanding our numbers correctly according to your theory?
Well, I think we have an economic problem because we are the only creatures in this universe that use currency. There are no other creatures that use currency in order to exist. Why is it that we chose this strange thing that isn't even real? Other creatures, they drink water, they eat fruit, they eat other animals. We exchange with currency, and our system of exchanging with currency is flawed because of greed. There's not like if 1 times 1 equals 2, we've got an equilibrium of balance. 1 times 1 equals 1, you've got loss. When 1 times 1 equals 3 or more, you're talking about over unity and supersymmetry. And that's how you get the universe to work for you. Instead of using just the solar voltaics off of it, you also use the piezoelectric effects of it. You use other things to make greater unity. But 1 times 1 equaling 1, when it could also equal a pound times a pound equaling a pound, when it could also equal $4 or $10 or $100. Does that make sense to you? Do you think the banks are abusing that? What's a quarter times a quarter? If I ask anybody in this room, what's a quarter times a quarter? That's 25 times 25. The computer will the calculator will tell you it's 6.25 cents. But we know 25 pence times 25 pence is 625 pence. That's 6 pounds and 25 pence, but the computer or the banks only have to give you 6 1/4 cents reference for it. Or let's say you put a dime times a dime. Let me get this out. Say you take a dime times a dime. You put that in your calculator, it says 1 cent. 0.10 times 0.10 is 1 cent. But we know a dime times a dime is a whole dollar. But the banks gives us money based on that evaluation. Is that fair?
Woo.
And I might get shot about talking about this right now. But I've got a book coming out called Does a dollar times a dollar equal a dollar, or does a dollar times a dollar equal $2? And in the process, not only do I explain the death of the platonic solids, but I also introduce the
having access to tons of equipment and the
Hijack City, man. Why don't y'all go work yourselves out, man? Why don't y'all go work out this math, man? Terrance Howard is on your head bone. Terrance Howard is on your head bone. With these mathematics. Go get his book, man. Go support the bro, man. Does a dollar times a dollar equal $2? Or $1, boss? Which math are you in favor of, boss?
way of life and gives us a 3-dimensional way of seeing the world. That's what I'm saying. Do you want to see the world in 2D or do you want to see it in 3D?
Let's go.
Thank you.
Because our math right now is 2D. Our math is black and white and stick figures. I want the world in multicolor, spectral vision. That's it? I can go home?
I think we have time for one more.
Who speaks up first? This dude, his energy is there. Go. Strong energy too, man, but,
You said that a dollar times a dollar is $2.
huh?
You said that, say, a pound times a pound is 2 pounds?
A pound times a pound should be 2 pounds.
Yeah.
If
But
action times
when
action.
you multiply those two things together, you get a pound squared.
A pound squared, yeah.
That the unit gets squared as well.
1 squared. Say that again. We use the mic so I can hear you.
So you're saying 1 pound times 1 pound is equal to 2 pounds. But it's 1 pound squared, which doesn't make any sense because you've got a
1
squared
pound,
unit.
Squared. 1 pound squared.
Can you divide pounds? Can you divide money? If you can divide it, you can multiply it. What, a pound times a pound? What, a pound squared, 2 pounds? That 2 pound, 1 squared. Well, you know, it's funny, I actually patented 1 squared. All these things that I showed you guys, I've patented all these things. You know why I patented them? Because in 1926, a man named Walter Russell wrote a book called The Universal One, and in it he introduced an entirely new periodic table, and there he introduced the 2 heavy water elements, and then plutonium and deuterium. Both of those, all 4 of those elements that had never been discovered, he sent out to 800 different universities in his book. 2 years later, he watched as other people came and got Nobel Prizes for his work. Why? Because he didn't patent it. He didn't copyright it. So I copywrote all these things and patented all these things before bringing them to you. They are true, and I think there's some value to them. I don't know why I said that. Did I?
I think they're thinking that the entire money system is off, or we're just thinking the decimal system.
Yeah, it's the decimal system that's off. The money is, there's nothing wrong with the money, but how we deal with the money. But if you can divide money, you can multiply it. It works hand in hand. Okay, or you can't see that. You can't see dividing
No,
money.
it's a matter of
Use the mic.
definition. If you define, it's a matter of definition. A pound squared is not a unit defined.
A pound squared.
If you multiply by mathematical convention, if you multiply 1 pound by 1 pound, same as if you multiply 1 meter by 1 meter, it should be 1 pound squared or 1 square
It
meter.
becomes 2. Why does it become 1 pound squared is 2, isn't it? Now, if you look at remember what I just said about the associative and the commutative laws. It says A is to be added to itself as many times as its units in B. And the only thing that prevents that is the identity element that sits up and says, no, the Jim Crow law sits. Black people sit in the back of the bus because that's what the law says, without even having a foundation for it. 1 times any number is that number without a foundation, with no principle. It just says it.
But if you go by your logic and you say 1 times 1 is 2, 1 times 2 is 3, and then how would you define 2 times 4? Is that's just...
That stays, all that remains the same. Anything with 1, just add 1. The first rule of
Okay,
multiplication...
then where's the difference between addition and multiplication?
Well, multiplication is what? Exaggerated addition. Isn't it?
But isn't it a matter of mathematical convention?
What is?
If it was defined in the beginning, it could have been defined differently, but logical, it makes the
Use
most
the
sense.
mic, darling.
Sorry. Is it a matter of mathematical convention? If you define beforehand that something, logically, it makes the most sense that 1 times 1, if you have 1 laptop, 1 times a laptop is 1 laptop, that makes more sense than you say it's 2 laptops.
Well, now, if you say...
And then that's where the mathematical convention comes in. And that's large part of math is convention. It's how it has been defined. It's a matter of definition.
And it's wonderful. The convention is all right if the material and the information being shared in the convention is true. But when you're talking about dogma being added in, with that thing that I showed you, did you look at the square root of 2? Do you think that that's a loop, that's a natural thing with the square root of 2? Did you believe that?
Pi, there's not a mathematical...
No, it's not the same though. It's not the same with pi. What we just did, we multiplied it, we cubed the number, and then we divided it by 2, and we cubed it again and divided it by 2, and we did that a number of times, and that number still remained the same exact number, which we know cannot happen. It's right there. And that's what they say is the difference between, that's what they say allows 1 times 1 to equal 1, because 1, 1.414213562373095 dot 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 is the square root of 2. But we know that that's not the case because it's illogical. That loop makes it invalid.
I'm afraid that is all we have time for. So please join me in thanking Terrance Harris.
Man, shout out to the Naga, man. I mean, they try to throw their little wrenches in there, backing up their science, but they're not backing up the foundation. A pound squared and the pound squares, ain't that two? I mean, what's multiplication but exaggerated addition, right? he's noodle-baking these jabronis, man, in real time. Shout out again to Oxford Union, man, and you know what I'm saying, video advice, man, breaking down, hey, it's a loop, y'all let me know, man. Hey, I just came in here to chime in right quick with my Nagas, check in with y'all, working on, just functioning, you know what I'm saying, with our just our wave, our flow, you know what I mean? Just everything is, configuring my noggin like the way it's supposed to, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times things might feel harder before they feel easier. You have to reconvene with yourself, with your loved ones. Make sure, you know what I'm saying, the math is math. And as you do that, you take them steps, and that's how I feel personally, man. Myself, about Drop Nation, like we've, you know, went within ourselves, we went within our tribe, we went, you know what I'm saying, and now we can come out with the foundation. Now we can come out with the phenomena, with our mathing, you know what I'm saying, with the code in check. All this is numbers, all this is coding, you know what I mean? And this is where we are right now. So I'm just surfing the wave when something like this comes across the drop desk, man. Shout out to Aqua Ty Bazan dropping so much great drop, man. Terrance Howard related, especially. We brought up some on the Soulbone podcast. Hope you're enjoying the flow. Shout out CJ Battle, Chef Connie popping off recipes. We just getting started, man. Brother Nature making a great debut in the studio on the great interview. Shout out. Just look out for the next drops, man. The studio's popping off, so all this is happening, my noggin. We're gonna discuss a lot of this, live in studio, man, and we'll be able to start getting a lot of your feedback as well, live in full effect as well. So, Soulbone podcast hitting, major marks, man, and dig on Soulbone, SOLBONE podcast on IG. Aqua Tabazan popping off, man, and MHOE, my jigger popping off. The cons are popping off, and we're doing it step by step. And ThaWaDa for your patience. We're being framed in shape. It takes a little while. It takes a little understanding, man. And, it takes real ones to be able to see the best in each other and don't rest until we get the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep pushing for the best in everybody, man. You want somebody to be great, then visualize it and make them great. We got to make ourselves great. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing this in real time. And, Terrance Howard is, just a shining, a shining wave particle, a wave and a particle on this, foundational talk, especially with the frequency and the flower of life, seed of life, all the stuff that we've been talking about right here, Drop Nation. So I'm just popping off with you, having a good time, man. Pharrell got a robot dog. I just came across a drop desk that Pharrell got a robot dog, man.
Listen, there's
Man, hey, man, you listen, man. I said Pharrell got a robot dog, man. And we out of here. Dismount season. Let's get it.
What's up? This is David Banner, and you are looking at
Hey, shout out
Central.
all Urban Central. What it do, man? Pharrell got a robot dog, man. Let's go.
Hey, my boy.
Yeah, all right. Pharrell got a robot dog. Hey, look, man. They trying to make it cool. Celebrities gonna pop off with their robot friends, and then you gonna say, "Oh man, I need to be balling like them. I need a robot friend." And then you got a robot friend, and everybody got a robot friend. Hey, look, man. Hardwiring, software, hijacks, and hackers. All this together. I mean, I know a lot of people already got a lot of robots and AIs and chatbots and all kind of things going on, man. But look, man, don't let these people trick you into thinking this shit cool. Cause this shit right here, man, all somebody gotta do is hack this thing and it's an issue. Super spy. This thing got cameras on it, just walking around getting surveillance all day. Y'all trust this robot though? You trust this robot for real? You trust this robot for real? Crazy. Nah, I want you to hear this speech though that he gives, which I don't even think he's doing on purpose, but just listen to what he says and how it ties back to the alchemical serpent.
You changed my life. You had a crazy idea. You bet on a black man from America, one that is untrained, but somebody you deemed worthy, and you have no idea how many trajectories besides my own life, people around me, people we work together, you changed all of our lives with this one crazy decision. Tonight, we don't let you down. Tonight, we...
He's telling this Caucasian, thank you for betting on this black man. We ain't gonna let you down. This whole vibe just seemed a little strange. First, you got a robot dog. Now you're giving a speech about thank you for betting on a nigga. The whole thing seemed backwards and upside down. Let me reload it because they over here playing with our internet.
What's up? This is David Banner, and you are looking at All Urban.
Oh,
Hey, my boy.
there we go.
Yeah.
Look at this. Got him a robot though. Ain't that stuff?
You changed my life. You had a crazy idea. You bet on a black man from Africa, one that is untrained, but somebody you deemed worthy, and you have no idea how many trajectories besides my own life, people around me, people we work together, you changed all of our lives with this one crazy decision. Tonight, we don't let you down. Tonight, we slay fucking dragons.
Whoa.
Cheers.
Tonight we slay dragons, and it could be related, could be not related. I don't know. But when I hear about slaying dragons, immediately, man, I start thinking about alchemical serpents. I start thinking about AI. Serpents often represent the impersonal nature of the unconscious as it bursts into consciousness. The first thing I think about bursting into consciousness is this robot situation, like the robot dogs, like for real, you buying this for real. So the unconscious robotics, or this goes back to these other entities, because is this AI tapping into these other foreign entities, right? These ancient entities, right? So is it truly unconscious? Or is it coming back into consciousness, back online, bursting into consciousness, right? Especially in mythology and dreaming, when the act of conscientio, which is the bringing together of opposites, right? Now you're making half man, half robot situations. Yeah, now you're getting new sleeves, new bodies with the robot brain, that type of thing, right? So, what did Elon say? He can give you a robot brain or something, right? Occurs, the serpent is frequently part of the symbolism, especially true when representing androgyny, like the Baphomet, right? The alchemical serpent, the union of this male female into one single androgynous guy. Not saying, yeah, that's the framer, that's the shaper. You know what I'm saying? They have to create some image. And this image is against our rule number one. No images, no graven images, right? This image of this union of king and queen, even if it's supposed to symbolize this mother father energy being into one, yada yada. This is why we ain't supposed to be creating no images, man. Because now you're worshiping this image, this androgyny, but even deeper, this impersonal nature is what they are selling us on. He's talking about slaying the dragon. Well, how do you slay the dragon? Because the dragon is just the living, from this unknown origin, this quicksilver, the living spirit can be extracted from this dragon. The dragon is not itself the living spirit, but it is the vessel in which the ruach is contained. So it is the guardian, guarding your spirit. So when your dragon is asleep, your spirit is unguarded. You don't have a vessel. You getting teed off on. You don't got no force field. You don't got no power. You ain't got that water. How do you slay the dragon? Only the act or product of conscientio, the coming together of opposites, can slay the dragon. Pink power. Pharrell said what?
Don't let you down. Tonight, we slay fucking dragons. Cheers.
By the way, you were born trained.
Cheers.
You were born ready, man. You were born ready. So I didn't bet on anything like untrained people.
You have bonded with your robot dog? So you can slay the dragon? For real, for real? For real, for real? Y'all leave a comment, say for real, for real? For real, for real? And only the act of the coming together of opposites can slay the dragon. So he bet on this black man. He had to come together with the opposite to slay the alchemical dragon and get Pharrell pumping this unconsciousness just now bursting into consciousness. But remember this robot dog, man, some sketchy because this alchemical serpent brings everything to life, but also kills everything, boy. Oh, for real, for real. Be careful with your dog. Your doggy dog, boy.
From America, one that is
Be careful for
Hey,
real.
my boy. Yeah.
Be careful for real, for real. Brings everything to life, man. But also kills everything. We out of here. I'll leave y'all with this for the Dear Smile Drop Nation. What it do? Man, y'all keep the water flowing. Whatever you do, man, keep it litty, man. Keep the fire burning. You know what I mean? Be patient with yourselves and each other. Can't stress that enough, man. Oh, man. Aquatai popping off, man, on the Soul Bone podcast. Oh, man, I mean, we got this new game called the Soul Bone. The battles invented it straight from the turf, man. And we're going to teach y'all how to play Soul Bones. It has to do with these dice, but It's funny that back in the day, the priests called dice the niggers game, the Naga games, man. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Hmm. You know, Virginia Indians may be classified with the Negro, right? Ain't that something? You see how wavy this is? Aquatage is surfing the wave. We just reading it in the wave. Soul Bones, man. Yeah, blue, purple, red. So check it. If you land this gives you 18 points. I'm just going to start with that. And then you get 2 tallies, which means like extra turns. Like you want to land the blue, purple, red, 4, 3, 2. That's all I'm going to teach you with. But the ThaWaDa to the Aqua tie bands off. We popping off, man. Popping off Soul Bone Podcast, man. Y'all go dig on it. With mountains with trees, man. Shout out to Sibs on Insta. History Unreal. Blowing up history. Rock. My fam Rock Mason, man. LG out here. Yeah, man. You know. They say the rocks are alive. It's just so much drop when you open your eye bones, man. And woo, you start seeing with a 360 panorama. Dragonfly. Flit eye. Yeah, man. Clearly. Yeah, man. See the arms. You see the legs. You see the long tail. Yeah, man. We got to readjust how we think about the earth. Because clearly the earth is alive. 440 hertz is bad. McDonald's frequency. What do you know about it?
Listen to the Dead played at a frequency of 440 hertz. They play this frequency in the clubs, the radios, most of the streaming platforms, and everything. The picture y'all see above is the 2 different frequencies and how they look be it underwater. You see how discombobulated the 440 hertz is and how aligned the 432 hertz is? It's because 432 is a part of the solfeggio frequency list, even though it's not on this chart, but it's a part of it. And the human body is made up of mostly water, so imagine what that 440 frequency is doing to your body. It's keeping your body at a discombobulating low frequency. That's why you probably have intrusive thoughts, or you might hear a sad song and you want to cry, or a song just make you mad and want to go on a drill or something. It's that 440 hertz frequency doing that to you. So if you want to hear some of these solfeggio frequencies to get your body back in tune, click the link in my bio to the spiritual meditative playlist. It got different solfeggio frequencies in it for you. Peace, y'all boys, and send this to somebody that like music and might not know they're listening.
Man, we got so many producers popping off right now. 432, the homie Andre 3000 just dropped his album in 432. A lot of artists, man, you know, from the Beatles to Jimi Hendrix, been popping off the 432. So we 432 to drop because we aware, we the awareness community. To be aware is to be aware of your frequency. Before you read in the scriptures, you need to check and know what frequency you in so that you in code. Because keeping the code brings you into the highest frequency, the highest vibration. So we'll start with that, man. We'll be code keepers and check our frequency on a daily, but making sure we in code on a daily. And you start with most high over everything, MHOE, to make sure you ain't got no hijack and you can go directly to the creator, to the highest frequency, the greater light, man. So, hey, keep the code. Exodus 20 got us in code, man. And just know, man, we in that Fibonacci. Not so much solfeggio, you know what I'm saying? We in the 9 spiral, the spiral of life, the flower of life, the seed of life. And Terrance Howard got the drop, man. So a little bit of energy, frequency, vibration for you today. Keep your vibe high. And, you know what I'm saying? Just protect yourself, protect your thoughts, man. Protect your energy at all times, man. And dodge all hijacks at all costs, man. Keep surfing the wave. Stay up, suit up, choose up. Drop Nation.